Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna act like Hikaru, but I have an exciting game for you guys today. And I want to show you one of the games of the legendary Mikhail Tal. And as you know, he was the world champion, or it's better to say former world champion, and he was a tactical player, brilliant player, and very talented. So Mikhail Tal is basically everyone's favorite player. And this game is really interesting because he's gonna sacrifice the queen for some time. So I don't want to explain more to spoil it, so let's dive into the game and see what happened in this game, guys. So Mikhail Tal is playing as white, as you can see on the board, and his opponent is Lutikov Anatoly. So Mikhail started with e4, e5, knight f3, and he faced this move d5. d5 is not the main line here. So in this position, black usually either moves the knight to f6 or knight to c6, but his opponent played d5. And here Tal took the pawn, which is the right move, e4, attacking the knight. White played queen e2 to pin the pawn on e4. Black played f5 in this position to protect the pawn, and Mikhail Tal played d3. So basically he's putting more pressure on the pawn on e4, and that's how you're supposed to play. So whenever you make a pin, you want to put more pressure on that piece. And here the pawn e4 is pinned. That's why we need to put more pressure on the pawn. Okay, black played knight f6. White took the pawn, f takes e4, and then knight c3. White is attacking the pawn again. Black played bishop e4 to pin the knight on c3, so we can't take here, but we have a nice check. We can play queen b5 check to attack the bishop. Black played c6, queen takes b4, and black took the knight on f3. So in this position, white played bishop g5 because white wants to castle long. It's really difficult to castle short considering this pawn on f3. And if black exchanges those pawns, it's kind of dangerous to castle short. That's why white moved the darker square bishop out to pin the knight on f6 and also to prepare long castle. So black took the pawn on d5, white castled long, and black moved the knight to c6 to attack the queen. Here Mikhail Tal played queen a3, but according to the computer nowadays, queen h4 considered to be a better move. Why? Because again, we put more pressure on the knight, which is pinned, and we also attacking the pawn on d5. Why? Because when we are attacking the defender of the pawn, it means the pawn will be more vulnerable. Okay, but he played queen a3. Why? Because he wanted to avoid black's castling. So in this position, black played bishop e6, white played bishop c4. We have a lot of pins here, guys. Look at that. The pawn cannot take the bishop. Why? Because the queen will be captured. So that's why black played queen e7 to unpin this pawn and attack the white queen. And guess what white played here? This is a very nice tactical move which Mikhail Tal found in this game. So I want you guys to pause this video and find the best move, or it's better to say find the best plan, because it's not just about a single move here. You need to have the right plan. Yes, the best move here for white is to play knight takes d5. If you found this move, congratulations, because this is not an easy move. If the queen takes on a3, notice that here the knight cannot take. If the bishop takes, then white can pin the queen. So the only move here, or the best move here, I would say, is to take the queen. But now we don't want to take the queen back, because then black has time to take our beautiful knight on d5. Instead, what should we do? We need a check. We need an in-between or intermediate move. So knight c7 is a beautiful move here. Why? Because first of all, you're attacking a load of pieces. Second of all, the queen cannot move because the king is in check. So black played king e7, and now Mikhail Tal played rook to e1. Very nice move. Although here he could also take the bishop, but you will see that later on he will take the bishop with his rook. So he played rook e1. He said, okay, I'm not going to take the queen. My idea is to take the bishop and go for a checkmate. So black retreated the queen to c5. After queen c5, white took on e6, check, king f8, because if the king goes to f7, we do have a checkmate. Checkmate in 2 moves. Guys, I want you to pause this video for the second time and find checkmate in 2 for white. So if you found this move, rook takes f6, then you're on the right track. So rook takes f6 check, and the king has just 1 square. Notice that the rook cannot get captured because the king is under attack with 2 pieces. So this is a double check, and whenever we are in double check, we have to move our king. And after king e7, we have rook f7 checkmate, or even rook f5 is also a checkmate. Very nice checkmate. It's a discover checkmate. Okay, so that's why in the game black didn't play king f7. Instead, he played king f8. And guess what? Mikhail Tal, tactical player, he took the knight on f6. Now the king is under attack. If the king moves here again, we do have a checkmate. So the only move is to capture the rook. But now we have this square cleared for our knight, because here the rook was, on e6. The rook occupied this square. But now after rook takes f6, g takes f6, this square is clear for the knight. So white played knight e6. White got a nice fork in this position. King e7, and then white took the queen. Black took the bishop, and although black is still up a pawn, but white's pieces are more active, so white has more chances to win the game. White checked on d7, king f6, rook d6 check, king e7, rook e6 check, king d8, and he took the pawn b7. So at this moment, white is not down in material, but also white pieces are more active. If you look at black pieces, they haven't moved yet. You see the rooks are in the corner and they haven't moved yet, so they are not active. So here black played king c7, bishop d5, attacking the knight. If the king takes on b7, we can take the knight, skewer, and then we will get the rook, and then this is an absolutely winning position for white. So that's why in the game, after bishop d5, black didn't take. Instead, black moved the knight to b4. He attacked the bishop, and bishop took the pawn f3, rook e8, knight c5, knight takes a2, which was not the right move because the knight is on the edge of the board. A better move here is to take the rook and then play king d7, although white is still better in this position, but that was a better try for black. So black got greedy and took the pawn on a2, and white played king b1. he took the rook. After that, knight takes e6, king d7, knight c5 check, king d6. Notice that this king has to attack this knight, otherwise we're gonna just take the knight. So he played king d6, knight d3, and now look at that. The knight got trapped, so the knight doesn't have any squares to move. And here, black just resigned, because if white takes the knight on a2, then this is a hopeless position for black, because black is really in trouble. So for example, let's say if the rook moves to c8, we can take, and even after rook takes c2, white is still 2 points ahead. White has bishop and knight versus rook, and this endgame should be winning. So at this point, Lutikov just resigned, and Mikhail Tal won the game. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and enjoyed this queen sacrifice, which is one of, the most exciting sacrifices in chess. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Take care.